Good evening, all. Hope you've had a good Sunday. Weather where we are has been pretty good. Nice clear skies. Um, Flipping cold though. Been out in the garden doing some jobs. So yeah, it's been a eventful day, a productive day. So straight into bits and pieces that I've seen over the weekend. I don't think you can start anywhere else other than, unfortunately, these two accidents in America. The first one that was sort of in Washington was the helicopter that apparently was hit by the plane. Apparently was on what they've described as doomsday practice missions, which obviously is in the event of some sort of catastrophe, disaster, war, whatever you want to say. They were obviously doing sort of practices, which obviously is pretty horrendous. I mean, again, you don't know all the full facts, so you can't sort of pass judgment. But obviously, in this day and age with radar and radio and everything else, it's you just can't believe these sort of things can still happen. Your heart goes out to the people and families that are involved, and likewise with the other one in Philadelphia. That those sort of CCTV pictures of the plane coming down sort of over sort of the freeway. Pretty horrendous. I think from what I've read of the article, they're sort of saying that plane came down on a car, killed a mother and a child in that car. So yeah, pretty horrendous stuff. And again, your heart goes out to those involved. Barclays sound like they've had a bit of an eventful weekend as well. Sounds like the issue is now sorted. The only thing I noticed really with my Barclays app was, you could still sort of spend money, but it wasn't showing up in the app, although it was coming up as a sort of a widget that you'd spent the money. If you go into the app, it wasn't coming up. And there was this story about the sort of the honeymoon couple that weren't able to, I assume, transfer money because it wasn't stopping you spending money. But yeah, obviously that looks like it's all been sorted out. There was a continuation to that story from yesterday. A Holocaust survivor is giving back his Order of Merit after the German far right party have either gained power or in some sort of cahoot with one of the other parties. And obviously this person is basically making a bit of a stand, saying, the last time sort of this sort of party was in power or in any sort of power in Germany, look what happened, which obviously that is something very close to them, and obviously certainly nobody wants to see repeated. So yeah, you can sort of understand the decision making there. Princess of Wales wants public to focus on her work, not her outfits. It's a strange one, that, isn't it, really, because the royals, have everything, sort of, laid out for them from that point of view, and they're made by the best people. So it's hard for people not to comment on, sort of what they're wearing. It's always, whenever there's an event or whatever, there's always something said. But they can't then turn up in a pair of trackies and a hoodie, can they? So it's a happy medium, isn't it? But you can sort of understand what she's saying, I think, because clearly there is good work done, and she wants to be spoken about for the work she's doing, not for what she's wearing. So yeah, I think that's pretty pretty evident what she's saying. Just a quick glance at the weather this week. Primarily, it is going to be dry. We've got some cold nights, though, coming up on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday night. into the below freezing figures. So that is, again, just to be aware of with your car in the morning, and obviously any plants that are in the garden. Sort of sport this weekend. I have got one eye on the golf that is being played at the minute, because we've got some Europeans doing very, very well at Pebble Beach at the Pro-Am. We've got Rory McIlroy leading, but I think Justin Rose, unless anything's happened whilst we've been talking, was level with him. And then Justin Rose has just hit a very good shot on the par 5, just off the green for an eagle putt. So it was looking reasonably good that he was going to get another birdie there. And I think Rory off the tee had gone into the bunker. So something to be followed if you're a golfing person. Something else that was quite unreal today was the Arsenal versus Manchester City score, 5-1 to Arsenal. Absolutely significant from the point of view of the championship race. I think that leaves Arsenal 6 points behind Liverpool, and Liverpool got that game in hand, which is the Merseyside derby, which I think is Wednesday week, I believe now, because Liverpool have got Spurs on Thursday, Plymouth then next Sunday, and I'm fairly sure the Merseyside derby is the following Wednesday. The other results today, I'll come on to yesterday's results in a moment, but Man United again getting beaten today at home by Crystal Palace. I don't know what to say about that situation there. I mean, the manager there seems to really be sort of berating his players and saying he'd rather be playing his goalkeeping coach than Marcus Rashford and stuff like that. I mean, that's all right when your team's winning and you can fall back on some of this stuff. But when your team isn't doing very well and you're saying things like that, I mean, got to start having conversations with yourself as opposed to saying this sort of stuff in the press. I think Spurs beating Brentford today. Well, that was a well-needed 3 points for Spurs. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I looked at the league table this morning. And Spurs are where they are. I mean, I know they've got a bit of breathing space, and they certainly have now. But they were this morning. They were 2 places above the relegation zone. And it's lucky for them. Southampton beat Ipswich yesterday, because otherwise it could have been a lot closer down there than it already was. Going on to yesterday in the Premier League, Liverpool beating Bournemouth 2-0. Again, you probably know that's my team. Liverpool, that is. I did watch the game. It was very much as you sort of thought it was going to be, a very, very end-to-end sort of basketball sort of game. And it was, it was enjoyable. Liverpool went up with the penalty. Say what you like about the penalty. It was a great finish from the penalty spot. And then Justin Kluivert missing that basically open goal. Don't care what anyone says, it was an open goal. And then pretty much shortly after that, Liverpool go up the other end and score the second goal. It was a pretty, pretty good watch actually, if I'm honest. Other results in the Premier League yesterday: Nottingham Forest 7-0 against Brighton. I mean, there's been some quite extraordinary results this weekend in the league. With goals being scored. I mean, you're talking 13 goals, or 14 if you include the one that Man City scored in 2 matches. I mean, it's just absolutely unreal. It really is. Everton beating Leicester 4-0. Again, well needed for them. That sort of pulls them a little bit away from where that relegation sort of fight is. As I mentioned earlier on, Southampton beating Ipswich yesterday, and Fulham beating Newcastle at St James's Park. I mean, again, Fulham, they are such a sort of a funny old team. They really do get some funny old results here and there. And then Wolves, again, another team with massive problems, and they beat Aston Villa, high flying Aston Villa. And I heard Aston Villa players saying they were blaming it on the the Champions League and stuff like that. But they knew they were going to be in the Champions League this season. I know it's not easy with this PSR and what have you. But and they've just sold one of their players. What's it for about 60 million quid to the Saudi Arabians? I mean, obviously this money is unbelievable, but you just think to yourself, you've got to legislate for this. And I know they may not be able to compete with the, Man City's, Arsenal, Liverpool squad sizes and stuff like that. I get all that, but even so, they've got a pretty good squad, to be fair. So, Stevenage, they beat Exeter 4-1 yesterday. Again, I watched that game because that was an early kickoff on Sky Plus yesterday. So I was able to watch that game. That was a pretty good watch. And Royston beat Biggleswade Town yesterday. A bit of a local derby, that one yesterday, 3-2 as well. So yeah, some pretty interesting football results over the weekend. One other sort of thing I noticed, Lewis Hamilton having a bit of a smash in his Ferrari in Spain in the week. Again, I think that's what testing's for. Sorry, I was just glancing to the golf. Rory McIlroy's just hit a ball from in the bunker onto the green, so he's got a putt for eagle. It is miles away for eagle, but hopefully he should get a birdie there as well. So guys, I think that basically concludes it for tonight. Feel free to leave any comments, anything I've spoken about, any questions, anything like that. Feel free. I can certainly respond in due course. Haven't really looked at next week yet from the point of view of live vlogs. Need to sort of really have a think about what I want to do next week and what time I've got. 'Cause it's quite a busy week next week. Julia is away as well, so that means it's James and me, I think, for one, maybe a couple of days next week. Yeah, we've got a friend for ourselves, haven't we? So it'll be good fun. Anyway, I'm going to go. Have a good week, hopefully, and we'll catch up at some stage in the week. Keep it real, guys, and speak soon. Cheers.